Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Iverstein Butcher here on Perkins Road, just down from Essen. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. Glad you're with us. Overcast day and cool temperatures here as we close in on the Christmas holiday. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you? We got stuff to get to. Of course, Randy McKay will be with us as he is on Wednesdays, not just for NFL, but maybe a little FCS.
No, definitely. I already talked to Randy. He's got three NFL picks, including tomorrow night's Seattle Rams game, and he's got both games of the doubleheader, 3 and 6:30 on Saturday with the FCS semifinals.
At the FCS semifinals and the college football playoffs coming up this weekend, Wes Reynolds will be with us as well in the second hour.
We'll ask him who he wants to win.
Randy?
Wes.
Randy
wants the teams he picks to win.
That's
Wes
true.
Reynolds if he could pick. I mean, they play the winner of Oklahoma and Alabama.
Yeah, I asked about Randy because I always get confused whether he's South Dakota State, North Dakota State. It's all,
So South Dakota State.
Jack Wabbits.
No, it was North Dakota State. I think it was the Bison that was undefeated and had Illinois State at home. They're up 14 in the fourth. Illinois State scores twice. Second one with a minute to go. Their quarterback threw 5 interceptions that day.
Oof.
He said, "Go for it." Put it in my boy's hands. He makes it. He is fun to watch. He's listed as 5'11". You know what that means? Probably not.
Yeah.
And
right.
He is just Charlie. He's fun to watch, man. RPOs all over. He can run. And then he took that momentum and threw for about 15 yards an attempt last week. Dog win going away. Called the Dogs off, up by like 35, and let the other team, the favorite at home, score 2. Oh, by the way, touchdowns. But that. Go ahead, Randy, dog.
Hey, look,
Illinois State Redbirds, baby.
I'm following right along. He knows the FCS frontwards and backwards. Scott Rabelais will be with us as well from the Advocate. And among the things we're going to talk to him about, of course, Jimmy, is the news breaking, and not unexpected in any way, but CBS ended up breaking this, I think, first, that Frank Wilson will be headed to Oxford as soon as LSU is done with the Texas Bowl. Matt Zenith, Chris Hummer, the reporters on this, said that Pete Golding will hire Wilson as an assistant coach. Golding knows him. He was on his UTSA staff as a defensive coordinator when Frank was the head coach there from 2016 on, and he will be moving back there with him. This marks, thank Wilson Alexander for doing the math for me, 17 coaches and staff members between the two schools that have changed place since Lane Kiffin took the head coaching job on November the 30th. We still don't know, that is not counting Kevin Smith, who is the running backs coach at Ole Miss and may very well end up having that same role at LSU. But unlike the others that have already been announced, that is still up in the air. So for Frank Wilson, this was stint number 2 at LSU. He was back. He was a running backs coach for Les Miles from 10 to 15, and he's been here since the beginning of the Brian Kelly hire. Was one of the first. Was one of the first hires that they made. I don't have to give you the rest of Frank's resume. New Orleans guy. Jimmy, you've talked a ton about your personal relationship with Frank. We've watched Frank all the way, since he was at, for you, Carr, and for me, it first came on my radar when he was at O'Perry Walker and ended that long.
As a coach, yeah.
Yeah, as a coach.
Yeah.
It ended that long.
Never coached at Carr.
He was.
I don't think so.
says on his resume he was an assistant coach at Carr.
Hey, it's maybe for a short period of time.
Late 90s,
okay.
97 and 99.
Okay.
But what I
don't remember coaching at Carr.
You knew him way before I did. I came across him, came across my radar when he was at O. Perry Walker, and they ended what was a better than 2 decades-long district win streak for John Curtis.
This is before Curtis was in the Catholic League.
Yeah.
They were in the public league, and they had climbed up, but O. Perry Walker was one from the top. They were 4A, and I think there was a 5A. There were 5 different classifications at that time, and they broke their streak. I don't know, was it 40 district games in a row, whatever it was?
It was 2 decades worth. They hadn't lost a district game in 20 years. I'm not making that up.
Well, it wasn't always in that league.
No, they bounced districts a bunch because nobody wanted to be in the same district with them. But
right.
It was O. Perry Walker that finally
beat them that year, and Curtis came back and beat them in a dome. They had a rematch.
Yeah.
That was, and still some people talk about that was one of the most talented teams ever to come out of the city.
Buster Davis was on that team.
Buster Davis, Darrell Johnson was the star. Barry was a linebacker, went to Colorado, had a very good career there. You had
Johnson would have been he had grade problems, as I remember, and he would have been a monster recruit.
Just a little grade and a little conduct, he was the most talented guy on that team, man.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of them, man. The quarterback was really good. They had guys all over the place.
Davis
man.
ended up being a first-round NFL pick. So
yeah. And who was the other? There was a third that signed with LSU.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name.
And look, Frank got introduced to the cutthroat business of hiring and firing, college football staff, compiling when, Saban told him, look, man, we're going to strongly consider you for a position at LSU. Strongly consider you for a position at LSU. That first Wednesday in February comes around. Next day he said, we're going to move in a different direction. Thanks for shopping. Thanks for your 3 kids and son. So.
And at that time, he ended up.
He was young. He went to UL Monroe first, and then Ole Miss, I believe.
He went to Ole Miss, and then he spent a year at Southern Miss, and before he went to Tennessee with Lane Kiffin. The 1 year that Kiffin was there, and of course Ed Ogeron was on that staff as well. Head coach at Texas San Antonio and at McNeese, and then back here with LSU. You have a personal relationship with Frank, so you talked about that. For me, I know Frank. Talked to him many times. I don't have what I would call a personal relationship with him. I would have been fine, enthusiastic if Lane Kiffin had kept him in some role at LSU. But I think we're both in lockstep on this. The coach has got to hire who he wants to hire, and if he's more comfortable going in another direction, that's his call. It's not like when Brian Kelly came here and ran Corey Raymond off for guys that were clearly less qualified than he was. I mean, one of them had basically high school coaching on his resume. That was a concern.
Where was he from?
Minnesota, maybe.
He was on Kelly's staff.
Yeah, he was on Kelly's first staff. You give me a minute.
No, he was on Kelly's staff at Notre Dame, or he had coached with Kelly before.
He knew him.
So just a contact through.
Yeah, and Raymond had so much experience, and running him off for that didn't make sense. When I got a good idea when we see
Kelly's that was a hell of a hire too. You can't tell him what to do.
You can't.
No.
You can't. And we did. We said at the same time, okay, you want to run him off, but would have been better off keeping him. I suspect when Kiffin makes his running backs coach hire, it's going to be somebody that has got quite a bit of experience. And if it's Kevin Smith, and we think there's a really good chance that's going to happen, somebody's been in the Southeastern Conference for a while, has been at Miami, played in the NFL. He's a good bit younger than Frank. That's fine. You got to let the coach do what he's going to do. If they kept Frank, great. If he wants to go another direction, I don't believe, as some people do, that the entire mechanism breaks down if Frank's not on staff. Okay, the program goes on. You've lost coaches, you gain coaches. It happens. There's turnover. There's more turnover now probably than there's ever been. So I'm sad to see him go. But I don't believe it means the beginning of the end of recruiting in New Orleans, recruiting in Louisiana. There are other coaches that can do the job. They've proven that before. So That's kind of where I land on this.
But the fact and the concern is clear. You now have a guy with Carr and St. Aug ties, New Orleans ties.
Yeah.
New Orleans product as far as playing and coaching, playing high school and coaching. To the west of you at Austin now, Jabbar Jalouk. And now you have a guy with Carr and St. Aug ties who played and graduated from high school from New Orleans and coached a while in New Orleans and is very popular in New Orleans to the east of you. And those guys are going to recruit New Orleans.
Yep.
So it makes it tougher to recruit. You can't tell them what to do, but they're not shying away from recruiting in New Orleans.
No, they're not.
And the other thing, Charlie, is that he got you the 2 jewels, dude. He was the guy. He was the most instrumental guy on recruiting you 2 prize jewels in this class.
Richard Anderson and Lamar Brown. Now, both.
By the way, you were throwing flowers to Haven. You were like, when? This might be the first time in a long time that they number 1 recruit in the country.
Number 1 quarterback.
Oh, number 1 quarterback.
Yeah, we
said recruit too. Lamar Brown's this year.
Oh, right. No, I meant quarterbacks because we were talking about
Josh. We
were talking about Josh Booty and Peyton Manning and Ryan Perlew.
No, but we talked about
players. We talked about top players to come out of the city. Yeah. Yes, Lamar Brown. Yeah, obviously, both of those guys on signing day, we had this whole big discussion. Knew there was a pretty good chance that Frank wasn't coming back. They delayed their signing just a little bit because of that, and both of them end up signing with LSU anyway. So it can be done. Does it get harder? Yeah. You got people that are familiar with your state that are going to be in here recruiting. It's a concern. When Saban went to Alabama, he still fished in these waters.
They still did. Without Frank's work before Kiffin ever got here, would they have signed with LSU?
I don't know.
It would have been. That's where I think that But you can't hire a coach and tell him who to hire. And unlike Kelly, Kiffin has recruited Louisiana. Kiffin knows the conference. Okay, so I think Kiffin might even have a better idea if he can handle competing against Jalouk and Frank in this state. Kelly didn't. Kelly hired the guy he passed up on the first time, and it wasn't. You have to get your terminology correct. It's not retained. That's not proper. When the head coach is fired, the staff is fired.
Yeah, rehire.
Yes,
or
rehire.
Hire.
Yeah, hire. So, with that being said, Charlie, before we started to get sort of our pieces of information that, man, Frank might not be a slam dunk. We thought he was a slam dunk.
Yeah, we thought
he was a slam dunk.
It made a lot of sense. Now let me flip the script here a little bit for you. LSU's always going to recruit Louisiana. They're always going to have a foothold here. If Kevin Smith ends up being the next running backs coach, I would imagine that LSU gets a bigger leg up in Florida than they would have had. He went to UCF. He was born in Miami. He went to Miami Southridge. He was a running backs coach at UCF and at Florida Atlantic and at the University of Miami for a year. So it gives you somebody in South Florida that I would think has an awful lot of contacts down there. And LSU would love to go, I'm sure, dip their foot in the water down there if there's some players that they can get.
Who's going to be the 2 highest ranked teams next year in the SEC? Preseason, Texas and Georgia.
Fair bet.
Okay, those are the two teams with the highest percentage of high school signees on their roster. How many of Ole Miss's starting 22? Even if you want to rotate some linemen, say their top 30 players, but snaps this year and the season before were signed out of high school. It's probably a low number.
Without looking, I would say maybe
probably a low number.
25 to 30%.
I think that might be high.
Okay.
LSU, he's the guy that's giving him advice is on national TV saying, that's living dangerously, being that dependent on the transfer portal every year. You'll be able to, compile your roster with a higher percentage of high school signees at LSU. What is that? What is your golden number there? I'm asking you. mean, what do you want it to be? What's ideal? Is it 50-50? Is it 2-1?
I think you can win at LSU with about a 60-40 in-state ratio. I think
it's not in-state's high school signees. Period.
60%. If 60% of your roster,
you're signing kids out of Louisiana, Charlie.
I understand that.
Yeah.
If you're at 60% of your signing class is out of Louisiana, I think you're
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about transfer portal or high school signees. What is making up the guys that are playing for you?
I think if
your top 30 snap guys.
If Kiffin, once he gets everything set, not the first year, once he gets everything set, I would think a 3-to-1 ratio is what he's after.
3-to-1. Well, this makes it hard. Frank's expertise is what?
High school recruiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we talk about it now. We talk about with the transfer portal being so much more of a player in your roster compiling, your roster build, that do your Orgerons, your Frank, the recruiting specialists, your Corey Raymonds, does their value decrease? We've discussed that.
Yeah.
And so what is the magic number? And somebody will ask that, as far as Kiffin. He's got to have an idea. I would think, just read between the lines, he thinks it'll be a higher percentage at LSU than Ole Miss. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But now the first year, I think he's going to have to. I told you this last week.
Of course. No, he got to put a roster together.
You go look at this Texas Bowl roster, man, scholarship guys that actually play, you're going to be in the 40s for this game, okay? You got to count guys like Ahmad Bro, who's going to play in this game but is leaving immediately afterwards. It's not quite what.
How many guys that played in the bowl game are projected to be starters next year? Or your first 30 in a rotation?
That actually play in this game?
Or eligible for your roster next year.
Yeah.
How many on your roster do you have? You think you have on your top 30 guys in snaps? Not talking about specialists, kicking specialists.
In the top 30 guys for next year, you probably got 12 to 15.
Okay.
12 to 15. And I'm trying to think about guys like Whit Weeks, who's not going to play in this game, but could very well
He's
be
expected
back.
to be back.
Yeah, he should.
What you expect?
I mean, right.
You're going to have lose a guy or gain a guy. I mean,
but when this is my prediction. When Kiffin has to talk about when the transfer portal class is done, whatever that number ends up being, 20 whatever, I'll bet you he says we would like this number to come down. We would like this number to come down. See that we're doing what we have to do this year. There's a big transition. Lots of coaches, lots of players. We would like this number to come down.
Did Frank help his stock by the way he handled the interim period?
Not here. Not here. There are people that believe, rightfully or wrongfully, that he delayed some of the guys actually making their decisions because they didn't know if he was going to have a job here or not. Did he raise his stock somewhere else? I can't answer that. I think as far as holding the recruiting class together at the beginning, I thought it was really good, and how it ended up was fine because they didn't lose a whole bunch of guys. There was an interim period
on the field too.
They didn't, but there was an interim period there for a few days where Kiffin was hired. There were that 4-day period from Sunday to Wednesday where there was talk that Frank was like, "Well, if I don't have a job, you guys, you got to sign here, but I may not be here," and that may have turned some guys off. As it turned out, Anderson ended up signing. Brown ended up signing.
His responsibility to inform them.
Sure.
The kids he spent so much time. They sure called him whenever they needed something or they had questions.
I would understand if he said, "Hey, listen," and he said that publicly. So look, my situation is in flux. We will decide that after the bowl game. And I think we kind of saw the writing on the wall. If he was going to hire Frank, he would have hired him the first day, right? I mean, he's here. He wants to stay. If Kiffin wanted him, he would have kept him.
We're at Iverson's Butcher Shop on Perkins, just off of Essen. Turkeys, man, you got them on over here. So the deadline to order is this Saturday. This Saturday at noon. So Christmas pre-orders in this Saturday at noon. You can also pre-order specialty cuts on the website or call the store for special requests. It's easy at iversteinbutcher.com. Still taking orders for fresh cuts, sides for Christmas holiday cooking, smoked turkeys, and desserts. We do some red velvet cake rolls, which are outstanding over here at Iverstein. So for Christmas, got a bone-in prime rib, pork crown roast, tenderloins, andouille and sausage for gumbos, custom gift boxes. We can come in and we can help you build a custom gift box with insulated or dry boxes. And you can't go wrong with Iverson's gift cards for the people in your life as well. So that's pretty cool, man. I've seen some people show up over here. Well, I've got $150 to spend. You know, throw some homemade sausage and this and that, and some butcher burgers, some steak burgers, different cuts of meat, some pork roasts and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. So if you got somebody that grills and likes to cook and things like that, man, Iverstein, or just a gift card for the people on your Christmas list this Christmas season. So, but if you're doing your holiday cooking and you need your steaks or your roast or your sides and things like that, get your orders in this Saturday by noon.
Live at Iverstein, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
You can always get the show on demand, 104.5 ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Double podcasts, both parts of our Lane Kiffin offense preview up on YouTube right now. It's brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. Just a quick glance, you asked how many of the players on the roster are guys that are playing or transfers, and how many are high school signees for Ole Miss. And I had time to go through the whole roster, but their leading passer, their top four rushers, of which the quarterback is one, were all transfers. 4 of their top 5 receivers were all transfers. Last year, they signed Kiffin's last class there. They signed 30 out of the transfer portal, 23 out of the high school classes. The year before that, they signed 26 out of the portal, 20 out of the high school ranks. So their leading tackler is a high school kid that's been his whole career.
But but it's a lower percentage that will stay with the program and then start a couple of years later, 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
So, how many guys in the transfer portal will start a big chunk? So it's probably I don't know. How many started LSU? They're starting 22.
Again, without looking,
Nussmeier was high school.
Yeah, Caden Durham and Harlem Berry were both out of high school. Anderson was a transfer. I'm talking about starting wide receivers now. Brown was a.
We'll go for on. It was a quick seg. We don't have time to do that.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's kind of the deal. Dolphins put Tua on the bench this morning.
It's the right thing to do. I wouldn't go with Zach Wilson. He's got a few starts. He got a little bit of evaluation. You don't know what you have out of Quinn Ewers. Why? You're out of it. Why risk Tua getting hit on his head anymore? See what you have a little bit in Ewers. I mean, he might be he might have something. At one time, Ewers was supposed to be sort of a hot prospect coming out, and he kind of sour, but he also played hurt a lot in his last year at Texas. So, we'll see. But I guess just being eliminated because Tua struggling in that cold of weather. They had a lot better quarterback struggle with the weather than him this past weekend.
They have to decide what they're going to do with him, because if they cut him,
they're cutting the owner.
They're not cutting the owner.
He's the one that signed him to that $250 million deal.
Well, it's $100 million in dead money if they cut him.
Yeah,
$100 million.
He is the one that liked Tua. It was a big decision. We said, man, and that's before you get to the health risk.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. Now, the one thing you look at their record with him and without him. They've had some really bad backups. He has made a difference, whether he has started or not, believe it or not. As mediocre at best that he's been, he has. But, I mean, Miami traditionally, and he especially, Hawaii quarterbacks going to, 10-degree weather, it struggles. So,
$100 million is a heck of a mistake to make if you end up having to move on from him. And even if you split it up,
that's the owners kind of getting
No,
into
it
the
is.
football operations, buddy.
But that's what happens.
That was Ross's move. So
good luck trying to find a replacement with that kind of dead money albatross on
it's
your
not
cap.
impossible that yours might show you a little something.
No, if you got him there, then I guess you're okay. $100 million. Ooh.
I mean, get a better draft pick. Who cares about the next few games? I mean, just go ahead and try and play some of your younger players. See what you have.
And I'm sure that's what $54 million fully guaranteed for next year.
But I do agree we're going with Ewers instead of Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Zach Wilson,
we have an idea what
yes,
he's all about.
that ship has sailed.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great team at Legacy Title: Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title. 296-0060.
Live at Iverstein, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. They let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Randy, how you doing, buddy?
Hello?
We're going to be off next. We're going to be off next week for Christmas Eve. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we appreciate you, man. You lending your expertise, information, and angles with us every week. So, I hope you have plans for the holidays.
Not really. Just kind of going to be chilling here in Arizona and enjoying the nice 80-degree weather and not really having a snowy Christmas for a change. So it's going to be just kind of a little different. But Merry Christmas
we don't need
to
you
guys
to look.
and
No.
fans as well.
You better get out of there before it heats up in May or so. We don't want you melting out there. I mean, it's fine. It's mild in this time of the year. Actually, the weather is awesome in Arizona this time of the year. So, but we'll be with you, man. We'll be with you. Maybe we'll get you picks on a Tuesday next week. Let's start this week. You got 3 picks in the NFL. And Thursday night, and a big one in the NFC West, a rematch of the Rams in Seattle. And boy, you look back in that one more. Rams were fortunate. Darnold threw 4 interceptions, and still the Rams had to survive a long field goal attempt at the end of the game. They got a great punt that went out inside the 1 that really pushed Seattle back. But look at the Rams. Well, they should be. I guess they with Stafford against Darnold. But maybe it's certainly better. But Seattle at home tomorrow night. It's pick 'em. We see 1.5 currently, though.
Yeah, 21-19 game the last time, and of course we had the Rams pretty big, and that one didn't cover somehow off those 4 turnovers. So we've seen a little flip of favorite here. I did get in the plus 1.5 opener, which looks like it's going to be a pretty good bet. I always like the home team off the short week, and they have a better injury report as well. Definitely no Adams. And we saw Puka get a little banged up there, too. Nakua there a little late in that game, so maybe he'll be limited as well. I think this game could be a lower-scoring game as well, but I do trust the Seattle defense a lot more than what I've been seeing out of this Rams defense lately. So in a short week here, I see Seattle having the advantage in the revenge game here, so put me on the Seahawks plus. All right, pick them.
All right, you good? You good at minus 1.5 as well?
Yeah, that's starting to get up a little bit, but yeah, I'm fine at there's some pick'ems out there. Minus 1.5 is fine. Also, cheap money line if you got that option as well.
All right, let's go to a game interconference game in this one, and the Chargers had that big win against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. They followed it up. They fell behind early to the Chiefs. But here they come back and they steal it from the Chiefs and eliminate them from postseason play. And now they went into that game kind of banged up on a short week as well after that Monday night game that had to go some extra time. Now Dallas loses on Sunday night at home to the Vikings. They're pretty much out of it, but not quite eliminated just mathematically. But the Chargers 10-4 at the Cowboys 6-7-1. And still Dallas is favored by 2.5.
Yeah, you got a Charger team here that knows how to win, where you got a young Dallas team here with a young coach. You know, you got Harbaugh versus Schottenheimer that still hasn't really learned how to win, I don't think, yet. So I trust the L.A. Chargers defense more here to carry them, into the playoffs. Herbert and company are managing games despite all the offensive line injuries. He's taken a lot of hits, but we've also seen this, this Dallas, defense get a little bit exposed the last few weeks against better offenses. They were on a little bit of a run there where their acquisitions look like a good move. And we've also seen this Dallas offense get really frustrated, and with games that you could see that against Minnesota when they let that game get away here too late. So surprised we're getting this kind of number here with the Chargers. So we got a little bit of money, an underdog on the road here. So let's gobble up those points.
All right, you're going to have to get Charlie's permission for this next pick, but when's the last time we've seen Kansas City being eliminated? They're not playing. Mahomes is out. We know that with the ACL. The timeline of his return will be very interesting. The easy thing is I can't see him possibly participating in any preseason games, but the start of the season is going to be pushing it a little bit. I mean, he can do it. He can be fully healed and ready to go. But I mean, it's a little give and take with those rehabs. He went and got under the knife at ASAP and trying to start his physical therapy as soon as possible. But it's going to be an interesting timeline for his return next season. Tennessee plus 3.5 fell right on the number last week against the San Francisco 49ers, and then they won the wild one in the snow with Tennessee. But they are putting up points, and maybe a team that cares a little bit more catching 3.5 at home against Kansas City. Yeah,
motivation game. What is Kansas City here going to play for now? They've been totally eliminated here, and you got a Tennessee team that's been more game probably in first halves than they have for the full game, so it might be a good first half angle here as well. This KC team eliminated, like you say. How many veteran players are going to even suit up for this game? Plus they have massive offensive line injuries again. And what is the Tennessee's best unit is the defensive line with Simmons and company that are still playing very well. So this could be a little bit of a matchup up front, with Minshew, who's not the most mobile quarterback in the world, not having much time to throw. On the other side, I've liked what I've seen out of Ward lately. Seen some rookie improvement, that could, we'll see who plays for the Chiefs. We'll see if even Big Jones even suits up, or, when they're out of it, will he even have much motivation to play? And also what I've liked with Ward is this receiver DK. I expect him to have a pretty big game here for Tennessee. He's looked like a nice rookie weapon, and he's done it in the punt returns and on offense. So I see him having a big game as well. Hopefully this doesn't hurt our, hopefully Tennessee hangs in there and loses at the end, so it doesn't hurt our season losing worst team with them. But of course we got to contend with the Giants and the Raiders, who actually play each other coming up.
I'm gonna allow this, by the way.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Titans started out. They were terrible again. 2-6 against the number in their first 8. They're 4-2 in their last 6. So they're showing some signs of life.
4-2 in their last 6. Chimere Dike, the rookie out of Florida, so a 4th-round pick by the Tennessee Titans, so a weapon for Cam Ward. All right. Montana and Montana State, nice picks on the FCS last week, especially Illinois State. We'll get to that game in just a little bit. But Montana State, 4-56.5 at home against Montana. This will be a 6:30 doubleheader on Saturday.
Yeah, and I was having a great weekend last weekend until, of course, Dave Portnoy mushed my Patriots pick and kind of ruined that second half there with the Bills.
He early called it?
That video, but yeah, he called it at halftime. That idiot. But
there you go. There you go. These novice bettors, boy. I mean,
he's had a rough few weeks between the
he wants to control the opposing team to be bet against, Coach. Yes, he wants
the
to try
Raiders
and
field goal and the Patriots. He's had a rough couple of weeks.
It sounds like a little inexperience there. So go ahead, Montana State 456.5.
All right, this is a rematch. Big game here going to be in Bozeman, Montana. This game was played in Missoula earlier at Montana. 31-28, Montana State wins. I could see this being more of a defensive game this time, especially with the weather and the wind is supposed to be up a little bit. So I could see under the total here. I see some 58s out there in the market, 56.5 at DraftKings. But I think this total will go up some, which should help us some. I see more of a defensive game here in the rematch here with the two Montana schools, and this game being very close. So this game could go either way, and I think this is a championship game. Whoever wins this game wins it all.
All right.
Balmy 36 in Bozeman for this game.
All right, Randy, and then Villanova at home. Villanova fell behind 14-0. I jumped in and took like 20.5 in that one. They stormed back and beat Tarleton State on the road. Illinois State, they had to come for bomb. Was it North Dakota State? They were down 28-14, scored twice, went for two late and beat them 29-28. And the quarterback just went on, man. He threw 5 interceptions, and the coach still had confidence to call his number for the 2-point conversion with less than a minute to go. They smoked their opponent on the road last week. Took the foot off the gas and let them score a couple of garbage touchdowns at the end. Nova 1.5, 52.5 against Illinois State.
Yeah, you got a 12 seed here getting a home game in the playoffs. I don't think we'll ever see that again, and especially in these playoffs, it's kind of a anomaly here. So I'm not going to go against this Illinois State team. They're a very good team from the best conference in the FCS, in my opinion, the Missouri Valley, who's won it with North Dakota State and South Dakota State last few years, and this team could give either one of the two Montana schools all they can handle, and I think they'll get to the championship game. Like you said, a game Villanova team, coming back against Tarleton State, but I ain't gonna get off this train yet with Illinois State, and probably will take them in the championship game when they win this one as well.
It's funny, they opened up at Southeastern in Hammond and won that game, but they've gone on the road 3 straight weeks and won. So going to Villanova shouldn't be much of a problem in this one. They went down to Hammond and beat them 21-3, 29-28 against North Dakota State, and then 42-31. It was 42-17 before a couple of by the way, touchdowns for you. I'll tell you, that quarterback's fun to watch. Huh? The 5'11" guy, man, he runs those RPOs, and he's a senior. And is it Rittenhouse? Man, he's fun to watch.
Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was putting the ball up last week, had some long touchdowns there and some nice catches here from the wide receivers. So I can see them having some success as well.
A season high 13.3 yards an attempt last week, 266 on only 20 attempts and 3 touchdowns. What about that 5 touchdowns? You watch that one? Because that's some of your boys, that North Dakota State game where he threw 5 picks.
Yeah, that's what the NDSU offense didn't really show up that game, and they ended up costing them at the end. Of course, the Illinois State coach, Brock Speck, made the right decision to go for 2 in the win, and it worked out, and here they are, and they got a good chance to win it all as well.
All right, big dog. Merry Christmas, man. We're going to try and call you on Tuesday, get your picks at least on the Tuesday show. Maybe we could squeeze you in if your schedule allows it. But Merry Christmas to you, brother, man, and don't burn too much firewood in Arizona, okay?
Yeah, should be able to fit you guys in, and Merry Christmas to everybody as well.
Thanks,
All right,
Randy.
All right, Randy. Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39, at RR39. Don't forget my friends over at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace, Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. So the Go Automobile Dealership family, our friends Mr. Lee Carney and Nick Richard talked about their concierge service department. Man, you talk about convenient, super convenient. Called them up, told them what was going on with the end. I said, look, we'll come bring you a loaner. We'll get the driver, bring you a loaner, where you want to meet. We were doing doing the show over on Highland Road. They came by, dropped off the loaner, picked up my car, told me what was going on, got the approval to do the work on it, no problem. And then when it was done, paid mobily, just on the app, and then they returned it to my home. And I mean, you talk about as convenient as you could be, man. Their concierge service department was unbelievable that they do over at Go Chevrolet at LaPlace and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. Certified body shop, and mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. I don't just talk about the vehicles from the Go Automobile dealership family. My Chevy Tahoe comes from Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine.
Live at Iverstein, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
We return here at Iverstein Butcher here on Perkins near Essen. Come by and see us for lunch here. We got a open for Christmas orders as well as come in.
Yeah, this Saturday is the cutoff, Charlie. This Saturday at noon to get your Christmas orders in. So you smoked turkeys, the different sides, tenderloins, bone-in prime rib, andouille sausage for gumbos, gift boxes as well. If you want to do it, and gift cards over here. So yeah, we got the hot plate line, and you can also do the sandwiches and some of the ones that were featured on diners, drives, and drive-throughs. Diners, dives, and drive-throughs. I'll get it straight. The Triple D show with Guy Fieri. So he was over here. Man, it was. If you haven't seen it, they do. It really does show off the attention to detail that they do over here at Iverstein Butcher. So started with Galen, man, years ago when he was right down the street on Perkins, but much closer to College Drive next to Pat's Plaza, and moved over here, opened up the cafe, and man, busy for lunch every day because you can get a hot plate lunch or a sandwich or burger over here. It's really, really good.
Some more LSU news. Colin Hurley is now officially going into the transfer portal, announcing his intentions to do that. He left the team in November for personal reasons. He had, he's been at LSU since January of last year. He enrolled, he was young, he was 16 when he enrolled, but he never played. Ended up redshirting at first year. And then he had a car accident earlier this year that he ended up missing all of spring while he was rehabbing that, so he's kind of behind the eight ball a little bit there. So he's going to be moving on. So Garrett Nussmeier's out of the bowl game. Juwan Johnson, who was sort of the emergency quarterback this season, has announced that he is entering the portal. And Hurley, who's we didn't expect to play anyway, is now in the portal as well. So Michael Van Buren, try to keep it together for 4 quarters in the Texas Bowl. There'd be a wide receiver.
How many starters are down?
7. I think.
7.
It's something. Let me put a pencil to that during the break, but I think it is 7. Also,
seen worse for teams that of the expectation level and of resources of LSU, and to be going to a minor bowl. So
the other news is that Cortez Hankton, wide receivers coach, has interviewed with Ohio State. Of course, he won't be coming back to LSU. Ohio State, their wide receivers coach and also their OC was Brian Hartline. He's moving on for a head coaching gig at South Florida.
He's coaching a bowl game today.
Yeah. So he has moved on. Ohio State looking for a coach, maybe Cortez Hankton.
Them fools for Alabama were trying to knock each other's heads off last night.
Oh, yeah, that was intense.
Little fights.
Hour number 2, straight ahead here at Iverstein, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
And return here at Iverstein Butcher on Perkins Road, just off of Essen Lane.
Do their signature sandwiches for lunch, Charlie, on the hot plate line. We got a leg quarter, smoked boudin, or pot roast, and the sides, mashed potatoes, rice gravy, green beans, broccoli, the chimney slaw, or cucumber salad. Or you can order from different burgers or their specialty sandwiches. They're really cool. Fried bologna, hog head cheese sandwich, the pork roast po' boy, a little Cuban,
Pork roast po' boy.
It's good, man.
You have my attention.
It's good. Caramelized onions, lettuce, tomato, po' boy bread. Yes, it's good, man.
Let's bring in Scott Rabelais. Rab, good afternoon. How are you? Scott?
I'm here.
Scott, are you there?
Oh,
there we
I'm
go.
here, yeah.
There we go.
Turn your mute off.
Turn your mute off, rookie.
Yeah,
Come
that
on.
helps. That helps. I was eating lunch at my desk, but last week I was in Iverstein with Wilson Alexander. We had a delicious one.
It's
Okay.
good, man. It's a good spot. Very popular. Very popular.
Scott, let's start with the report that Frank Wilson is headed to Ole Miss. This is not unexpected that he was going to be leaving LSU. He knows Pete Golding from before. So your thoughts about Frank coaching the bowl game and then moving on?
Yeah, I mean, it's mixed feelings about it. Obviously, I think I feel like a lot of people would have liked for Lane Kiffin to keep him, but he clearly feels like he's more comfortable with his running backs coach from Ole Miss. And, there's also obviously the recruiting component, too, that I think is something to be overcome for the LSU staff. I would have to guess that he just didn't think that Frank was quite as good a position coach as his guy coming from Ole Miss. So, and they figure they can overcome the whatever recruiting deficiencies they have. I wish he would. All that said, I like a lot of people wish he would have kept him, but I feel very strongly, as I've always said, that a coach should be allowed to decide who he wants to keep. And obviously, keeping guys like Blake Baker and keeping Corey Raymond, and is not keeping anybody on the offensive staff, and that's his prerogative as the new coach. You shouldn't put any limitations on him or say you can have the job if you keep so and so. Well, that's not how it should work. And but Lane Kiffin's got to succeed. And only time will tell, right? I mean, how long? Somebody's going to say, "Oh, Frank Wilson got that guy to Ole Miss. He would have come to LSU from New Orleans or something like that." And we'll have to see. I'm sure there'll be some of that, but they'll have to overcome it somehow. And I'm sure Lane weighed all those prospects into his decision.
Do we feel the same things when Kelly didn't hire Corey Raymond on his original staff?
Like I said in the first hour, it was a lot bigger deal to me at that time because he brought in inexperienced defensive backs coaches with no ties to the region, and that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If Lane Kiffin fills his role with Kevin Smith, you're talking about somebody who's been in the league for a while, certainly doesn't know New Orleans as well as Frank does, but has some ties in Florida that maybe you can use on this staff and knows kind of the landscape of the Southeastern Conference in recruiting. If it's not Kevin Smith and it's somebody else, and the guy comes in here with, and I'm not expecting this, a very little amount of experience, and yeah, I think it would be a much bigger deal. This ain't I don't know if you guys remember that crazy trade in the USFL where the Arizona Wranglers and Chicago Blitz traded their entire teams, the entire rosters, the entire coaching. Yeah. The reason I remember it is because they allowed my good friend Alan Risher to stay in Arizona as an exception to that rule. But 17 coaches and front office people have either gone from Ole Miss to LSU or vice versa, Scott, and we're probably not quite done with that yet.
Right.
This is a little bit unusual, even for all of the moves happening in college football today, for two schools in the same conference that play each other every year to be swapping this much personnel.
Yeah, it is. But these are two very geographically close schools. They want to LSU recruits in Mississippi always. They've got a lot of good players from there. Ole Miss has got a lot of good players from Louisiana, and will continue to do so. They're a lot closer to recruiting hotbed in Northeast Louisiana, than they are to the Gulf Coast, where LSU's has a lot more sway. But yeah, it's like that's a good example. And I'd forgotten about the USFL example, but it's just gonna make the whole rivalry, which has always been good. I think it's going to bring it back to a level that especially with Lane. First and foremost, obviously, but all these other things, just adding layers to it. And bringing it back to a level that it hasn't been since probably the late 60s, early 70s, since, Archie Manning was, going against Burt Jones and that sort of thing. And, from the late 50s to the early 70s, this is one of the best rivalries in college football. And is it going to get back to that again? I don't know, but both sides have to hold up their end and be nationally relevant. But there's a lot of hate and there's a lot of animosity building up on both sides, and a lot of bragging rights or potential bragging rights that could be in play here. With we got your guy, we got your guy. Austin Thomas obviously is another one. Lane Kiffin. Obviously, that wasn't a happy split when he left Ole Miss to come back here last year, and now he's going back. So Pete Golding, of course, being from Hammond and all this stuff. So it's a very, very interesting time. It's just delicious. I mean, really. I mean, you really have from people in our business is covering this whole thing and just see what next chapter will unfold, what next layer will be added or peeled back. Is just tremendously exciting, and obviously, and the fact that LSU Press would go there in September to play their SEC opener, man, that's going to be. I can't think of a more anticipated LSU road game before the season. I mean, obviously, Alabama 1 versus 2, those games in 2011 and 2019 were, but this is months ahead of time. 8, 9, 10 months ahead of time. You're thinking about this game, what it's going to be like, and Frank Wilson's on the other sideline, and Pete Golding on the other sideline, and Kevin Smith's over here, and Austin Thomas is over there, and Glasscock's over here, the new GM. So it's fascinating, and it's wonderful to have to cover.
This is only going to ramp up. We've only done the coaches part of this. We still got to do the players part of this when everybody gets into the transfer portal. So if 17 coaches and counting and front office people have moved, how many
the assistants over there are not recruiting their roster, though, Charlie.
Okay.
It would only Kiffin would have done that. Yes.
That's great to know. I feel a lot better now. And we're not talking about insignificant players there's names that are coming up. They asked Trinidad Chambliss earlier this week in the media availability for the playoff game if he thought he would have some closure on his waiver request to play again next year. He said he thought that might come before the end of the week. We'll see if that actually happens. Kewan Lacey, I think everybody knows that he's got eligibility left and could end up potentially in the transfer portal. We're not talking about third-string guys just that play on the kickoff team. I've maintained, Scott, that Ole Miss would absolutely find every nickel out of every sofa cushion to keep Trinidad Chambliss, to keep him from coming here. And I still believe that. Doesn't mean he won't, but I think they've been stung enough that they're like, hey, we're going to put the brakes on here. We'll offer him whatever you offer him, we're going to offer him, $10,000 more, whatever it is. How much player movement do you guys think we're going to – Scott, I'll start with you. How much player movement do you think? What can we expect? Guys that move from one place to the other?
Between these two schools, I think it's going to be a number that rivals it could be a number that rivals the number of coaches and front office people that you mentioned. It could be quite significant because there's always movement, and obviously Kiffin is someone who's leaned heavily on the portal and look, we saw. I know you guys probably talked about the report from the Athletic that said 9-3. The leadership council on the team voted to let Lane coach the playoff game. Believe that or not, but that's what they reported. That's true. There are players who are still loyal to Lane Kiffin over there, more so than what the Ole Miss people wanted to say. And obviously, there are players here who are loyal to a guy like Frank Wilson, and maybe to a lesser degree an Austin Thomas or something like that. But yeah, there are relationships there, and things are going to change, and it's just going to be something to see. You're going to have to have a program, obviously. This guy was there last year. This guy was in the other place. They've swapped. It's just going to be so. But it's going to be a lot. I mean, I'd be surprised. Maybe I'm overstating it, but I'd be surprised if it's not a similar number to 17 that are going to go between the two.
Care to venture a guess on this game, Scott? Tulane and Ole Miss. We've never seen a team have to play under interim coaches all the time. But this is a little – and even new coaches coming in. I think Brian Kelly coached Cincinnati in their bowl game. That's not unusual. Brian Hartline, we talked about earlier. But the new head coach and the old staff, and we never quite. How do
He's
you think
part of
this-
the old staff, Charlie.
No, I get it,
Yeah.
but he hasn't had to be the head coach before.
Right.
What do you think this does to Ole Miss in the game on Saturday?
Well, it's Tulane as well, right? I mean, with John Summerall is still coaching, but this is a change, and this is on the back of their mind. It's a huge distraction. Obviously, they pasted Tulane. I think we all expected a much closer game. I don't know what you guys thought about it in terms of the betting line when Tulane
I
went
took
up.
Tulane into points and paid
Yeah,
for
I mean,
it.
I would have too. Yeah, I would have too, and they just destroyed them. I think it's going to be a much closer game this time. I still picked Ole Miss to win. I picked all the bowl games and all the playoff games that we have matchups for at this point last week, and I think I picked Ole Miss to win by 10. But I think they're degraded without Kiffin being on the sideline. There's tons of distractions, new responsibilities for coaches, and Tulane. It's always hard to beat somebody twice. I know you're getting them at home both times, but it's always hard to beat somebody twice in a college football season. So I think it'll be a much closer game. And I give Tulane, as you like to say, Charlie, you're the first one to ever say this, Charlie, a puncher's chance. I heard you. It always stuck with me. I give Tulane a puncher's chance in this game. I still think Ole Miss is going to win, but I don't think it's going to be anything like the first game.
I'll be shocked if Tulane's competitive in this game. I think that the distractions on each side is sort of a wash. You can make a case for either side. But, I mean, now Retzlaff can't have a worse day. He did not complete a pass in the first half in the first game. So it was the second game that Chambliss was playing. But there's no comparison between these two rosters. Summerall did a really good job of getting the most out of this roster this year. This is not a great roster. It's a team that struggled against Army at home. They got blown out by Texas San Antonio. I mean, they got blown out. They weren't as good, on the road. And I saw a lot of celebration. I saw a lot of, to get that conference championship, which they laid an egg last year in West Point in that game, and on that coach who donated $100,000 on the way out. He wants to leave on a, he's leaving a tip as he leaves the table, leaves for Red Street. So I just don't see. I see Ole Miss went 5 straight possessions in Athens, Georgia, and this defense is not that good. Chambliss is going to have a field day.
I'll split the difference with you guys. I think that Tulane loses by fewer than the 35 that they lost the regular season game by, but more than the 17.5 that they are an underdog. So not quite as bad as the regular season game, but not inside the number either. We'll see how I do with that one. What about the Texas Bowl, Scott?
Okay, real quick. I'm reminded of the Chick-fil-A Bowl or the Peach Bowl, whatever it was called in 2000. Remember when the Georgia Tech offensive coordinator had left, and they were like, "Oh, Nick Saban's first year. Oh, we got a new guy, but he's going to run the same place," and it wasn't the same. LSU dominated them in the second half.
When Ralph Friedgen left.
Was it Ralph
Friedgen?
Yeah.
Well, he was.
They installed a new play caller. We're going to run the same offense. It wasn't the same because it's not the same person running things. I don't think Ole Miss is going to go up and down the field on them. I could be wrong, but I will take the under. I will take Tulane to cover this one. But,
take Tulane the points. Okay, cool. Thoughts on the Texas Bowl? LSU going to go with another depleted roster, not quite as bad as the 38 or 39 guys that they had when Ogeron was leaving the program, but not anything close to a full roster either. Any thoughts, since we're not going to have you next week for Christmas Eve, about LSU's chances against Houston?
Again, kind of like I kind of feel like Tulane. I picked in the paper last week. I think I'm going with a score of 20-16 Houston. I don't see LSU scoring many points again. I think the defense will still be competent. They've learned how to play without Mentor Delane and with Weeks and some of these guys. So I think it'll be LSU. It'll be a much better showing than LSU was able to give against Kansas State in the Texas Bowl 4 years ago. But it's certainly not like last year when they just took it to Baylor in that game. But I think I think LSU will keep it fairly close, but won't be able to generate much offense. Houston's a good team. They're ranked. I mean, they've got 9 wins. They've had a very good season, and obviously it would mean a lot to them for a lot of reasons, including recruiting wise, to to beat the team that comes into their backyard and gets a lot of recruits all the time. So maybe that Lane will be watching. Obviously, maybe some of that mojo will maybe he'll slip a note once in a while to Cortez Hankton. Like, run this play. Here's a play for you. Run that. But no, I don't think I don't see how you could pick LSU to win this game.
Scott, have a Merry Christmas. Thanks for everything you do with us all year long. We appreciate it, and safe travels to and from the bowl game.
Thank you, guys, and y'all as well, and to all your listeners, too. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas, Scott. Who's LSU playing in a bowl game?
Houston. University.
Willie Fritz.
Fighting Willie Fritz's.
Speaking of LSU versus Tulane, I asked Paul Stone what his power ratings would have a neutral site. This year's team, this year's playoff bound Tulane Greenies, and this year's is it Houston Bowl, Charlie? Texas Bowl?
Texas
Bowl. Yeah. LSU Tigers.
Tulane's got just about everybody. Everybody's playing.
No. This year, regular season,
Yeah.
full.
Oh, full rosters. Okay.
Yeah.
What's he got?
I'm asking you. What do you think?
I'd make LSU a touchdown favorite on neutral
You're
field.
right. A little bit more than that, but like 7.5, 8.
7.5. Okay. Yeah. That's where I would have. You know,
we used to have that debate that year. Was it was a Herb Tyler team for LSU, but that undefeated team Tulane had. Now Tulane, and their best win was like Southern Miss that year, and then they beat a 6-6 BYU team in the bowl game. I mean, they were very good on offense, but they were just not lightly tested, to say the least.
But by the way, when we're going through this whole Kiffin thing, and team going to playoffs, losing their coach and all that stuff, we got a tally now. 3 teams have lost their head coach: James Madison, Ole Miss, and Tulane. Mm-hmm. Texas A&M and Oregon have both lost each of their coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators. 3 of them to head coaching gigs. Ohio State's offensive coordinator Brian Hartline and Alabama's receivers coach DeMarcus Shepard have also accepted head coaching jobs at other places.
But the coordinators for Oregon are still coaching.
They're still coaching, but
Hartline's gone.
Hartline's gone.
Okay, but the A&M guys are coaching.
They are
right,
but they're juggling another job at the same time.
Understand. But Hartline's going to coach South Florida today and still coach in the playoff?
I don't think so.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I thought he was. He was gone.
He would be practicing with his team.
You know who had the best deal is Bob Chesney at James Madison, because he's coaching at James Madison during the day, and then he gets 3 extra hours to coach on the West Coast. He's making all of his West Coast phone calls for UCLA. The time difference is actually working out for him.
Well, the Oregon coordinator is doing it early, for working in the mornings in
Right.
Lexington.
They go the other way. They're losing time.
Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. AC heating, generator installations, maintenance, service today, every day means same-day service. And, look, it's not the time where we're thinking a ton about our AC units, but if your AC unit is 10 years or older, if it was serviced this past summer, it is the warning signs you're about to replace it. Winter is the best possible time to take advantage of our overstocked AC systems at Total Maintenance that need to be moved before the new year. Total Maintenance is offering $5,500 off select systems, as well as steep discounts on the ductwork that you've been putting off replacing for 30 years or so. Free evaluation of your system. So call us up at 480-1000. We'll come out, evaluate your system, see if this ain't going to break down again. You're going to be set of repair. Now might be the time to replace it. Or give it out exact the recommendations or options that you have for you. So it's a free evaluation. We'll come out and look at it, 480-1000, and let you know what you're looking at. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
Live at Iverstein. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Wes, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well, Jimmy. How are you?
Little Heisman hardware to the number one seed, Heisman hardware. Who are you pulling for Friday night? Who'd you rather play, Alabama or Oklahoma?
Yeah, they can hear the drums for Nando now as he wins the Heisman Trophy. Was very pleased to see that. A great speech, obviously a memorable one. And Diego Pavia was a great story. I don't know if he really handled himself well in the aftermath of it, but nevertheless, it can be forgiven. The hardware is in Bloomington, so that's good. I have no idea who I'm pulling for because I haven't even bet the game. I've been kind of going back and forth since the matchup got announced of who I like in this game. And I think the market is kind of doing the same thing, too, because it's been stuck at Alabama -1 in the revenge spot where they outplayed Oklahoma in the first game, but Oklahoma, the Sooners got the win and the cover with the turnovers. I think Oklahoma defensively, and Alabama is a little bit better offensively because we haven't seen that explosive Oklahoma offense unless it's against subpar competition, partially the Mateer injury. But when Mateer and Arbuckle came in from Washington State, we thought, okay, Oklahoma, maybe they're going to get back to Lincoln Riley numbers offensively. They are not. The strength of the team is Brent Venables' unit. So I don't know. I would maybe say Oklahoma because there is the whole story with DeBoer. Of course, he was the former offensive coordinator at Indiana under Tom Allen. So, there's at least familiarity there. But I think either way, I don't think Kurt Signetti and his guys care. Like, I think they're engaged in full mode now. The Heisman hoopla is over, and I don't think they care who they play. So I feel like they're going to be ready.
We know that when Franklin was released at Penn State and Signetti was an obvious target, and they locked him up. But you know what, Wes? You've done a lot of things. You win a Big Ten championship. You got a Heisman. You've tied down Signetti. You knocked off the list as the most losses in the history of college football. Northwestern has that now. But you look a little deeper. This thing has some sustainability. I didn't realize that Indiana boasted the largest living alumni base in the country. With the Hoosiers for Good or Hoosiers Connect. I mean, the new premium club seats, the field level suites. I mean, they're moving in the right direction. It looks like the guy knows how to use the portal. We know that. He gets the modern day roster building. But man, this Indiana, and I'm sure they're not done with improving on their facilities in their stadium as well.
Yeah, like Sig said in the 60 Minutes piece on Sunday night, attack at all times, and that's what they're doing. I think on and off the field. But as a fan, my first goal is to win a bowl game because the Indiana has not won a bowl game, by the way, since 1990. I believe it was the Copper Bowl against Baylor, if memory serves me correctly. It's been so long. So, honestly, I just want to focus on Indiana being Rose Bowl champion. And then we'll see what goes from there. If it goes to Atlanta, if it goes down to Miami in the finale, great. But focus on winning that Rose Bowl. And I think that there is sustainability here. Indiana's not going back to that, struggle to get bowl eligible and struggle to get 6 wins anymore.
Fill me in. I didn't catch it. They did a 60 Minutes piece on what we're discussing right now?
They did. John Wertheim, Bloomington native, Bloomington North High School, did a piece on 60 Minutes profiling Indiana football and talked with Kurt Signetti and Scott Dolson and Fernando and our defensive captain, Aiden Fisher, and then some rock star guy from Seymour. John showed him up in his little shack attached to the press box where he can smoke cigarettes. So there's a little shack attached to the press box at Memorial Stadium, which I never knew what that was, but now I know that's his smoker lounge, I guess. But they were profiling kind of where Indiana has gone as a program and where they're going to try to go in the future.
Interesting. All right, college football, the 4 playoff games. Are any bowls upcoming? Who are you picking?
Yeah, a couple playoff games that I did bet. The Ole Miss game, I actually bet the first half with Ole Miss, -9.5, and obviously this is a rematch with Tulane, and the G5 schools are both going to give a strong effort because you got people saying, hey, they shouldn't be in the playoffs, so obviously you're going to expect them to be ready to go and have the intensity. But I think with Ole Miss, you're not going to get a more supportive crowd ever in Oxford in light of gone down. And I think that this team is going to be motivated immediately to get off to a good start. So I think they're going to get margin in the first half, and that's maybe you can play live later in the game because Tulane is Scott Van Pelt and Stanford Steve will say they sign up for 60. So they're going to keep trying. So if you make the old where they maybe let the foot off the gas a little bit, because now you kind of have to, right? Because then you're looking at Georgia down there in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl, and it's like you really want to risk injury. So it's like if Tulane or Ole Miss up 20 in the fourth quarter, maybe they let the foot off the gas. Tulane gets back door. So that's why I went first half. And then in the Miami Texas A&M, I played the under, which has been hit now. Now it's down to like 49. I played under 51. Two really good defenses here, two top 20 defenses. Miami's strength, I think, is their offensive line, so they're going to want to run the ball. If Texas A&M can get after the quarterback, they're one of the best in the country, as is Miami. I think you have kind of a slog of a game from a scoring standpoint with Miami and Texas A&M.
All right, in the NFL, your top two picks.
I'm going to go against all the trends and against what we saw last week. And, of course, what did we see last week? We saw Seattle struggle to beat Old Man Rivers, right? And, had to get a 56-yard field goal to do so. So now everybody loves the Rams. It's mainly pick 'em, but there's some +1 for Seattle. I like the Seahawks here. They almost came back against the Rams, despite the fact that Darnold had, 4 picks in the first meeting. So give me the Seattle Seahawks over the Los Angeles Rams. And then go ahead to Monday night. I'm going to buy up to 7. It's 6.5 right now. I'm going to take Old Man Rivers against the San Francisco 49ers. You've kind of been getting fat and happy off some subpar competition. And now you got a Colts team on Monday night, season on the brink. You have to have this for any playoff chances. And I think the Colts may get it done. Like, they at least got another week with Phillip Rivers. He is what he is physically, right? But he had 3 practices. So they really didn't, he couldn't throw it down the field. So I'm going to give Steichen and them guys credit that maybe they come up with a good game plan to get the ball down the field a little bit more. He's getting more reps in practice. So I expect a better performance out of the Colts against the 49ers this week. So take the 6.5, buy it to 7. I think they cover and maybe even upset the Niners.
All right, Wes, we're off for Christmas Eve next week, so we will talk to you in a couple of weeks. On New Year's Eve, we are doing a show. So until then, man, Merry Christmas. We certainly appreciate all your contributions to the show, man. Go Hoosiers. Look, if Alabama does win, don't worry. Charlie Hannegriff will be the biggest Hoosier fan you know. Trust me.
I will be
first.
I will be Otten Hanny's official Pasadena correspondent, because that's where I'll be next time we talk.
Awesome.
Boots on the ground.
All right. Have a Merry Christmas, Wes. We appreciate it.
You bet, guys. Thank you.
All right, don't forget over here, you can get the raw turkeys. You can get the, the smoked turkeys that we have over here. Again, Christmas orders. The deadline is this Saturday, December 20th at noon. You can do the porks. We can do different porks that we have, pork loins, the boneless porks. We do a whole roasted pig. You got all the pork shoulders, the tenderloins, the USDA prime rib roast. We can do the boneless prime rib. So all of the different meats are all on our website at iversteinbutcher.com. Don't forget with all the meats that you can order prepared or that you can do, you prepare yourself. The sides, the boudin rice dressing, which is very popular over here. A little spicy, a little tad spicy, flavorful. Cornbread dressing with andouille. Giblet gravy, spinach madeleine, sweet potato casserole, creamy mac and cheese, broccoli and rice casserole, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. We're doing gallons of chicken and andouille gumbo, gallons of turkey and andouille gumbo, and Colucci, pans of lasagna, and half pans. Yes, over here at Iverstein. Yes, indeed. So we had to. I told him he went 3-0. Pulled a hat trick. We had to put the lasagna on the catering menu for the holiday season over here at Iverstein Butcher on Perkins, just off of Essen.
Live at Iverstein, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny.
Here at Iverstein Butcher, live at lunch. We're also brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, Pierre Part Store, now in LaRose and Lockport as well. Go to the website, thethibodeaustore.com. Gifts for the season. Now we're getting close, so delivery on some items, but same-day pickup on pretty much everything in this on the website. Gifts for the season, storage units up to 20% off there, channel lock tools up to 45% off there. Some cool little gift items like this one, the auto assist unit. You can get these for under $150. It's got jumper cables. It's got a little air valve where you can fix a flat. It's a pretty cool thing if you got a student going to college with a vehicle by themselves for the first time.
Yes.
You wrap that up and put it under the tree. The wireless solar outdoor security cameras are available.
Nice.
Outdoor heaters in multiple sizes.
Yes.
Tons of things that you can get. And, of course, your outdoor cooking. We've been telling you about that for a long time. Heavy-duty workbenches and too many things really to list at thethibodeaustore.com. You want to visit the store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, Highway 70 in Pierre Part, also now in LaRose and Lockport, and online, thethibodeaustore.com.
Look, man, for the dad of the house, I can tell you, that is not a bad. What do we get our dad? What do we get our dad? What do we get our? It's hard to go wrong there. Tell him, go in there, tell him what you like. You can do a gift card too, but tell him what he like. Does he like to cook? Does he like to work in the yard? Does he like to, kind of, I don't know, build birdhouses, whatever. I mean, fish, hunt. We can find some stuff for you. Yes.
Tons of tools, tons of things at thethibodeaustore.com. Remember when Lane Kiffin was talking about LSU's transfer portal class in the week leading up to the game? He says, well, yeah. He says, the top 4 guys in the class, defensive backs, they got 3 of them. And today, adding to the list of hard work, Mansour Delane, first-team All-American of Sporting News earlier in the week, first-team AP All-American. And A.J. Halsey, first-team Sporting News All-American. That's a haul when you can go get 2 first-team All-Americans, first-team All-Conference, first-team All-Americans out of the transfer portal. They may have missed on some other guys, but in that secondary, they hit it.
I thought mostly certainly the secondary, but a lot on the defense they hit. I thought they were not all hits, but they hit a lot of. I'm telling you, man, the receivers just couldn't protect the passer and get the ball there. I thought the receivers, man, were pretty good, man.
I think Barry and Brown had a good year. Nick Anderson never really found a flow.
Your cornerback's hurt and you can't protect.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that's not going to be exactly a productive a group.
And there were no deep balls to Barry and Brown.
Well, he couldn't throw downfield. He couldn't get protection to throw downfield. I mean, it was if they would not have missed as much as they did or didn't develop or whatever it was with the offensive line and Nussmeier, man, this thing was set up. Kelly thought it was set up. Who on that staff didn't think it was set up? Every insider they thought it was set up. And they just didn't. We knew the offensive line was a concern group. Kelly let us know. Now, he was off by one, but he's like, wait, how many you plan on playing in Clemson? That's
it was 8.
If that isn't a warning sign, I mean, so. But Kiffin is for a guy that can be a little awkward in front of a microphone. He sure give you content, and he's done that. He's done that when he was, I don't know, was it 4 years ago when it came to 3 or 4 years ago? Why aren't they playing Perkins more? Why aren't they playing him more? Damn, we got to play in the afternoon. Huh? Funny, every time we go there, we got to play at night, huh? Why does LSU get so many night games? So he's letting you know little things. Oh, well, LSU just went and got out the best. So even as much as Ole Miss was extending and improving their support, increasing their support with their boosters, with their administration, the whole thing, to make them more competitive, and they did. That's why they're going, well, wait, is Florida a better job than Ole Miss? Well, Ole Miss is beating them. Ole Miss is beating LSU. Why is it better job at LSU? Because just him coming aboard, him maxing out at Ole Miss in the conference, a team you've played every year. Charlie, you know the reports on the people that are excited to donate. Private donorship, it's a
people that have not donated before are donating now. People that were donating before are donating more.
They are excited. That you have to do something to excite. I mean, well, Vandy just needs to spend more. Well, man, try getting people to put up their money for a perennial loser. They have to capitalize now. Indiana had to capitalize, and guess what? They are. And so we'll see if they can do it minus their big player. They're going to have I think the old Vandy's gone. I think they've done enough in 2 years. That extra year this year, it didn't get them in the playoff, but it sustained it even more. You won more games. You blew out your rival at their place, worse than any. Gave the coaches worst loss there. I mean, I think people believe in Clark Lee, and so they're going to do it. So LSU now, that's fine. The hype is here, but then he has to win here too, to continue it, to sustain it. So
my only pushback on that would be that you look at the SEC this year. Okay, Auburn was down, Florida was down. And I don't expect those two teams to be down forever.
Auburn had a decent roster and didn't have a quarterback. You saw when they got some production from the quarterback in a couple of games, that was a different team. You tell me the Vanderbilt in the Alabama game, they weren't a little bit different?
No, they were, but for Vanderbilt to be good, somebody's got to be bad, okay? For Ole Miss to stay good, somebody's got to be bad.
Where's Kentucky going?
I'm not talking about Kentucky. LSU, Auburn, and Florida all had losing records in the league this year. I don't expect that to continue for very much longer.
We talked about this. We don't expect Ole Miss to maintain their level.
No, and for Vanderbilt to go 6-2, somebody's got to go 2-6. And this year, one of those 2-6s was Florida. I don't expect Florida to go 2-6 moving forward. So, can Vanderbilt sustain? Better than they were, but
they're not winning 10 games, Charlie.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about going 2-7 in the league.
They're no longer.
I don't think that's going to happen every year.
They're not going to be underdogs to Middle Tennessee the way they were 3 years ago in the non-conference game.
Right.
I don't expect them to go back to that, but again, somebody's got to.
No. To expect them to win 10 games consistent. No, that's not. I'm not talking about that.
Oh, let's
I'm
talk
talking
about
the old Vandy where they're winning maybe one conference game a year.
No, they'll be better.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll be better than that. I agree with you there. The amount of resources being put in by all 16 of these teams, somebody got to lose, and that's why. What we say earlier in the year, if you go those upper echelon, or even if you're not upper echelon and you think you're upper echelon, you go 2 years without making the playoffs, you're probably looking at a coaching change. Not in every case, but more than not.
Not enough wins to go around.
There's not enough. Thank you, Jimmy. I've been searching for half a segment for that statement. There's not enough wins to go around. That's perfect.
And then you make it even that much tougher with an added conference game. So I mean, some of these teams are going to have one less run to win.
Yeah, and
most teams. Most teams. Tell me somebody it's not.
That was the pushback from the lower half of the league when they were talking about 9 games to say, look, we still want to get to a bowl game. That game against Middle Tennessee, we need that game.
I go 3-0 with my Rena wins, and then the other 8, and when it was 11, I mean, we can go 2-6 in the league and get bowl eligible.
See, we used to buy you 3, now we can only buy you 2.
Don't forget over here at what about the crowd over here for lunch today?
Great crowd for lunch.
Again, leg quarters, smoked boudin, pot roast is our on the plate lunch today. The hot lunch, sides, mashed potatoes, rice and gravy, green beans, the broccoli, chimney slaw, and the cucumber salad, which is over here. Or you can order some of the different sandwiches, award-winning sandwiches that we have over here. The burgers. It's a green egg day today, so I got EJ's asked for some grilled chicken, so I got that marinating, but I'm going to pick up some of these steak burgers and throw them on the grill on my green egg from, of course, the Thibodeau store as well. So we're going to get that. So, again, one more time, Christmas orders, the cutoff, the deadline is noon Saturday. December 20th to get all your meats, your gumbos, your sides, your turkey, smoked or raw. You want to cook your own stuff. Anything, the specialty cuts, you can go to the website and order it online as well. IversteinButcher.com.
Live at Iverstein Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny.
Here at Iverstein, this breaking from Hayes Fawcett at On 3. Carius Curran, LSU true freshman offensive lineman, plans to enter the transfer portal. That's not what I wanted to hear. 7 games, starts at both left and right tackle. I thought he was going to figure in prominently as a starting guard. I thought that guy had a hell of a ceiling, still do. So now you get into players that I don't want to see walk out the door. That's one. In Carius Curran. I'm sure Hunt will have more on that as that story is just coming across right now. All right, Jimmy, we got 2 bowl games, one at 4, one at 7:30. Old Dominion, South Florida, and the Cure Bowl in Orlando. Neither starting quarterback will play in that game. UL Lafayette and Delaware in the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile. Pretty close to full participation in that one, right?
Yeah, first of all, the Cure Bowl, it's in Orlando, so about an hour drive from Tampa, from South Florida. Of course, Alex Golish is going to Auburn. And Hartline will coach in this game, the new coach for South Florida. You talked about Brown being out for South Florida. 3,150 passing, 1,000 with his legs, 42 total TDs. Colton Joseph, nearly 3,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards with his legs, and plenty of TDs as well. Both of those guys in the transfer portal. But they do have a backup that played a full game last year for Old Dominion and did quite well. They think the backup for Old Dominion is a little bit better than this one. And Old Dominion also, one of their first bowls, they're minus Joseph, pretty much the participation is all there. Not quite for South Florida. ULL and Delaware, so ULL, it's their 6th straight bowl game, Charlie, and they had to win 4 games in a row. Their last 4, they won all 4 by single digits to qualify for their 6th straight bowl. They've lost their last 3. And so in Delaware, their first season at FBS, so their first bowl game, they're exciting pretty much everybody here, but I think maybe ULL kind of figuring some things out down the stretch may have the edge in that one.
Thanks to our friends here at Iverstein. Christmas orders open through noon on the 20th, so get your orders in for Christmas. Tomorrow, we're at the original Walk-Ons, Burbank and Nicholson. For Jordan back in the studio, for Jimmy out, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.